he's like, "Can you help me?" And I'm like, "No." And then he like pulls his hand off his neck and it's just gushing blood everywhere.
Hey, all you faithful listeners, it's Ryan Deemer, your host for the Skid Steer Nation podcast. Today, I've got a young man named CameRon Hogate. He owns a company called Gravel Boss, and we're just going to talk a little shop. He's got a couple crazy stories he was telling me about. I can't wait to dig into those in a little bit. He primarily deals in trucking and snow removal. And CameRon, where are you based out of?
Based out of Palmer, Alaska.
Palmer, Alaska. Man, I'm pretty excited. We hit outside the 48 states early in this quest, so this is awesome.
There we go.
How's the weather up there? We got to start with that. It's January for those listening.
Pretty warm January. It's in the 20s right now. We've gotten quite a bit of snow so far this winter, but it looks like it's going to be mild for the rest of it.
Very nice, man. Very nice. So yeah, CameRon, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you on here. Thanks for taking time out of your day.
Thank you. I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too, man. You too. So looks like you started your business during COVID in 2020. Was there a work change that happened that decided that factor, or was it just coincidence?
I had sold previous to the pandemic happening. I owned a seal coating company before this. And we went under LOI and then ended up selling that business mid 2020, and it wasn't for a big enough sale for me to like retire or even anywhere close to it. So started this to compensate for, because I was tired of seal coating and wanted to start something else, and then this just kind of happened and spiraled out of control.
That's fantastic. Did you start with the trucking or the snow removal?
Started with snow removal technically, because when my seal coating company got bought out, they did not buy out the seal coating, or they did not buy out the snow removal portion of that business. So we kind of just carried that forward into this one.
Got it. And then because that's seasonal, you had to find something to do in the other months?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And why trucking?
It's one of few things that I know how to do decently. It kind of just happened.
Just happened. You know? How many trucks or trailers, or what's your outfit look like for the trucking side of it?
So we did have 3 trucks at one point. And then I actually have all of them sold at the moment. We're going to buy one more, and we're currently acting as a broker as we speak. And then I have 3 plow trucks.
And then as a broker, is that going to be strictly for Alaska in your area, or are you going to go full United States?
The goal was to go United States, still staying with just the gravel deliveries. That is proving to be very difficult to do. So we might just stay local until we get some money going on, and then we'll try to expand again. I tried to expand to the Pacific Northwest last year, and quite frankly, ran out of money. I underestimated how expensive it would be to expand like that, because we're really heavily focused on like e-commerce and that sort of thing. It didn't go that well, so I need to regroup.
I have to pause here. You're focused on like e-commerce gravel sales?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically similar to trying to create like Amazon, but for gravel.
Got it. So do you have the e-commerce store yourself?
Yeah.
And then you're creating partnerships with quarries in certain areas of the United States, buying it and then scheduling trucking for delivery? Correct.
Yep. And when we started out, I was self-performing the trucking more just because you make more money.
Who's your customer on that? Is it the private homeowner residential that wants trucks, or is it the contractor that's going to do a lot of business in volume?
It is primarily on a percentage of revenue basis. It would be all contractors, or mostly contractors. On a percentage of profit basis would be residential. We're still doing the debate on which route to go. Being a traditional truck broker, you'd be better off going the contractor route. I don't really want to. I'd rather be residential. So I would say at the moment, it's like half and half.
And what's the deciding factor for you to want to focus on residential?
There's a lot more value to add to the residential market than there is the commercial market. I want to long-term build an e-commerce platform that is nationwide. Contractors aren't using that at all. And contractors don't need help with that sort of thing. It's the customers who don't really know what they're looking for or what they want to do or how much they need, or even the difference between different materials. Create a source for them to go to, and all they know is they want to build this thing in their yard. They can go to my website and find out all of that information and make an educated decision from there.
Well, just based on what you told me right there, I think you've already got your decision made up, and I think it's the right one, because whenever a customer or whenever a business owner uses the word value, I can provide more value. That's the niche. That's how I always have justified what I do.
That makes sense.
Because
and you are wildly successful. So if you say, and I'll take your word for it.
I don't know about wildly successful. I have a lot of fun with what I do, and we make a little money along the way, but I wake up in the morning with a smile on my face, excited to go to work, and that's 9/10 of the battle for me.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, again, like finding people that are underserved that you can provide and exceed in value, and it's not even always about price. So, CameRon, like the fact that you want to build like a repository of the different types of materials, best places to use them, what you need for building a shed versus building a garden versus building a driveway, like that's the value.
Yeah.
Like becoming the encyclopedia of projects requiring gravel and material, giving them all that information, having somebody they can call or text or message through the website to discuss their project. That's the value. And then the price really is less important to them, because you could be $1 more a ton, but because you're the one that guided them through their whole process, as long as you're not outlandishly out of line, they're going to do business. They're going to do business with you.
Yeah. And that is kind of, we have found that out a little bit. People just need answers without necessary. The way the world's going, so part of the reason that it needs to be online is so that they can get all of their information, because everyone's on their phone or their computer all the time anyway. They can get all their information at 2:00 in the morning from their couch when they're just bored, or without feeling like I am selling them when they're on the phone with me. I think it's helpful to a lot of people, because that's what I want when I'm shopping for something, particularly online, is to get all of my information so I can think about it a week before I actually make the purchase. I basically I'm trying to design it to how I want to interact with business. And maybe that's not the best way to go about it, but so far it seems like people don't hate it, at least. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I'll go. I'm going to expand on two things you just talked about. The first one, talking about them having access to that information 24 hours a day. But the other thing that we forget about that as business owners is that we're going to spend a lot of time writing those descriptions, being very open and detailed and describe in numerous ways. Where when you take a phone call and you have that same phone call 10, 15, 20 times a day, you start shortcutting that.
Yeah.
You start assuming they know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, I've got that material. Will that work for a garden? Yeah, it probably would. And then we start shortcutting that process. And they're like, well, I don't know if I'm buying the right material. We're on a website, that material, when you spend the time up front on that website, and it's going to guide and educate while you're sleeping, while you're working, while you're on the phone with other customers. And there's not going to be any confusion as to what they need. And then you can fill in the blanks with the phone calls and messages. And that's the biggest benefit that I find as an e-commerce store owner myself, is I don't shortcut the process, because the process is on a website.
Correct. Yep. And it's also helpful to, if they need to do comparisons, like in your world, you sell like skid steer attachments. And I've been on your website before and compared two different units. And I'm like, what is the difference between these two exactly? And it's really easy when you can have them both pulled up and actually read side by side, as opposed to being on the phone. Sometimes that gets confusing if you're not taking notes, etc.
Right. And then the other aspect for you is, as you're building this business out, this was my favorite thing to do. Go find like your mother, a sister, a grandmother, somebody who has nothing to do with this industry and has no concept of what it is, and have them read through it and see if they get it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Just see if they get it. Yeah.
Particularly me as serving. Yeah.
Because again, you'll start writing things, or you'll start laying things out or processing it, and like, oh man, this makes total sense. Well, it should. You do this every day. They don't. So we have to over communicate right at a 4th grade level, like they do for instruction manuals, and then lay it out in a certain order so that step 1 gives you information for step 2. Step 4, oh, because I read step 2 and 3, I understand step 4.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like my fiance, she's in the medical world. So she has nothing to do with construction and all that. And so I would always be like, babe, come here and read this. And she's like, what's that mean? And I'm like, all right, got to rewrite it.
Yeah.
And that was my gauge.
Yeah. That's smart. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. That was my gauge. So yeah, you're doing this full time. Business has been booming. You've got fantastic ideas. The e-commerce thing, you're getting me excited. Like I could go down like a techie geek world right now, and all the guys in their skid steers and excavators would be like, I'm out. So we'll have to save that for like an offline conversation. So then it says you get some some other employees that help out in the wintertime, or what are your seasonal employees? Where do you use them at?
Correct. So this coming up season will be the first season that I don't self-perform anything and I don't anticipate this upcoming summer season. I won't plan to have any employees. If I do, it'll be in an admin space. But I've always had a truck driver or laborer of some sort, et cetera, in the summer. I still have employees running plow trucks, running loader for me. I don't really know what we're going to do with that side of the business moving forward, depending on how the gravel gets. I would prefer to not stay in it too long. But at the moment, our employees would be seasonal in the winter. In the past, we've had them in the summer, but don't plan to continue with that.
My advice to you, and take it with a grain of salt, let it go in one ear out the other, or hang on to it, whatever you choose to do with it. There's a lot of contractors and excavation company owners that are small, single, 1-2 man operations, focus so much on dirt work. And like I tell them myself also, don't become a snow removal company. That's not your focus. Yeah. Just go do contract work for somebody who does that, so you can keep putting money in the bank account.
Yeah.
So the contracts and the admin is the area they lack. So if you already have the admin and the office space and the connections, I would expand all of your contracts for snow removal, and I would sub it out to all the guys in the area that don't work in the winter.
I like that idea.
And just 1099 them. Yep.
Yeah. Which is what I do with trucks right now anyway for deliveries. So same thing.
Because they need to stay focused on building those relationships with home builders, contractors, realtors, so that they can continue to do the dirt work, the land clearing, septics, whatever other services they offer. They don't need to take their focus away from that to build a snow removal business.
Yeah.
They just need to get in a skid steer or a truck and go push snow. And then say, hey, I work this many hours. And you can say, great, here's your pay. You collect the contract. You do this. You take a percentage off the top. Admin's all handled for them. Work's handled for you. It's literally a win-win.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Basically, you become a snow broker.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're doing now. And, and it makes sense, because one of the things that you told us before this interview is that the finance, cash flow, and like the business management is probably the strongest suit you bring to the business.
Yeah. And I suck at everything else. I really do. I'm not, if you needed me to go like dig a foundation, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
I can make things flat a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. So leverage those tools that you're good at.
Yeah.
So if you're good at the cash flow and the finances and the contracts and the admin work, then do that for snow removal with those other guys.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I like this.
Oh man, I like to make sure that we drop a bunch of value bombs, not only for you, but people listening, like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. So we're so in the weeds every day, and we're looking at our business from a 3-inch lens. Like to get that outside perspective of somebody to come in and say, why do you do it this way? Have you tried this? This might be more efficient. Or have you added this or eliminated that? And you're like, oh my God, it makes total sense. But you can't see it when it's right in front of your face. When
the only thing you think about is, I need another plow truck. You think I need to buy another plow truck, not I need to hire a sub.
Right. Yeah. And like we talked today with a guy, and like he's wanting to work with home builders only, contract construction companies to do dirt work, final site prep, all that. Yeah. But he's running ads on Instagram. And I'm like, that's where you go find residential customers.
Yeah.
Not contracts. Like you need to be writing like handwritten notes, sending emails, sending little gifts, creating case studies, walking in, sending them, donuts, or trying to get a lunch date. Like you're talking about a pool of possible clients that's 25 to 200, not 20,000.
Correct.
So you can't apply mass marketing to that niche.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, that makes total sense. But again, like, because he's like, well, everyone's advertising on Instagram, making money and selling t-shirts, I should do it. And he just didn't see the separation of having that small, tiny little market versus having a large community that you're pulling from.
Yeah. And especially, like I advertise heavily on social for residential gravel deliveries. Like you said, it's because it's a big market and I can reach everyone. But all of the contractors that we truck for are all super personal relationships that we met. Even if you meet them at the gas station, it's, they have my personal number. Like they text me at 10 o'clock at night to chat or whatever. Like they're not internet relationships usually.
Exactly. Internet relationships are great for one and dones, or like somebody who might need you a second time in the future. Yeah. But you've got to have that personal touch, that communication, that check-in, the lunch date, something, when you're only dealing with a small pool of clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. And speaking of relationships, how did you meet your wife?
I was paving at the time, and she came and worked for the paving company that I was working for. Both of us just went through traumatic breakups, and then here we are.
So you went to work and came home with a girlfriend?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is it similar to like finding the little kitten on the side of the road? Like, I'll just take her home with me?
Yeah, kind of. Just like
that. Oh, don't give her my phone number when she listens to this.
Okay. I wouldn't necessarily recommend finding someone that way, but here we are. You know what I mean? Six years later.
Yeah, but it's so true. Like when you stop looking for it, it finds you. Yeah. When you're ready for it and you stop looking for it and you're willing to accept it, whether it be work, relationships, lack of stress, when you just finally let that shit go, it just finds you. And I've been lucky enough to have that happen in my life a couple times.
Yeah.
One of them was Skid Steer Nation, because we went through COVID and the world shut down. And I was like, I've had this idea. I finally have time, and I don't ever want to be told when I can and can't make money again. But I was relaxed, and we didn't need it because it was COVID. Like nobody was doing anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could just build it the way I wanted to build it. And if it took 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, it didn't matter because I had the time.
Yeah.
And that just not having that pressure and that stress, like, oh my God, I got to have a business. I got to have a business. It really allowed me to build it from the ground up properly. So I didn't have to go back 6 months or a year later and fix a bunch of systems and processes, because I had thought through them before I started it, because I was relaxed and had time.
That's pretty much the key to most successful anything with business or life, really, is don't ever put yourself or try to avoid putting yourself in positions where things have to happen immediately.
Yeah, we just actually had a long conversation, another gentleman and I, this last week, talking about framework, and it started on advertising. Like, you have to build the right framework for the ad. And then we started looking at, like, man, you have to have the right framework for your life. Like if you want to lose 30 pounds and get proactive and become more intelligent, you can't sleep till 10 a.m. and eat McDonald's and watch Netflix. Like you have to have a framework that says, hey, I'm getting up at 6 a.m. Hey, I'm reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book today. Hey, I'm going to the gym. Like you have to build that framework.
Yeah.
And you can literally, if you apply that principle to any area of your life or business, you can start making bigger steps forward and then making smaller adjustments instead of large adjustments.
Yeah. And just setting yourself up for success. Like getting up at 4 a.m. is not going to make you lose weight in and of itself, but getting up at 4 a.m. affords you a lot more extra time to cook a healthy meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and extra time to go for a walk, and extra time for all these things. It's a byproduct doing the work that is required to be done.
And and you talk about it, you need to build habits. So we actually when we work with contractors, we're like, what are your goals? And I'm like, all right, great. We're not going to focus on those. What habits do we need to create in order to reach those goals? Because if we focus on the things we can control day in and day out, the goals will happen. I want to do $500,000 in revenue this year. Great. You need to make 5 phone calls a day to new potential prospects. You need to make 3 networking connections a week. You need to follow up on every customer you've done work with for referrals. And if we focus on those things, the 500,000 is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's when we focus on the 500,000, we freak out. We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then we do nothing.
goal that you're shooting for. Whereas if you know that your LTV to CAC is 100 to 1, then you know how much money you need to spend on advertising to get $500,000 worth of revenue, like,
right,
or whatever, like however that equation works.
Yeah, it really comes down to numbers. And even looking at your current business to say, okay, yeah, I averaged 25 jobs a month to do $50,000 in revenue. I want to get to 100,000. Well, I need to do 50 jobs a month to maintain that same average. Well, if I only win half my estimates, that means I need to do 100 estimates a month.
Yeah.
And if I pre-qualify and kick out half the people that call my business, in order to get 100 people to give an estimate to you, I have to talk to 200 people a month.
Yep.
Now, if you can just focus on the 200 and not worry about the rest will happen. You just got to say, hey, what's my number to hit 200 this month? I haven't reached, I'm 50 behind. I got to start making phone calls. And all of a sudden you're like, man, we're flowing in money.
Yeah.
Just break it down into small, manageable steps every day.
Yeah. It's reverse engineering everything in your life to get what you want, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like looking at the time that you have available in your day, like everyone's like, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time to make those 5 phone calls. And I'm like, guarantee you took a 15-minute break to have a protein bar and scroll on Facebook.
Every time.
Make 2 calls.
Yeah.
Guarantee you took a half an hour lunch to suck down a burger. Make 2 calls.
Yep.
Guarantee you drove to that job site in the morning. It took you 30 minutes. Make 2 calls.
Yep.
Like utilize and stack those things together so it doesn't have to create more time in your schedule. You can utilize the existing time you already have.
Yeah. Especially contractors are driving all the time. Every single one of them, either in the morning, evening, throughout the day, whatever. Like there's plenty of time to be on the phone for that.
I really think every contractor should set up their truck like it's their office, man. You get that mount that mounts underneath your seat, comes up, holds your computer, your iPad, your phone. So that way you can kind of work, drive, talk, take some notes with something.
Yep.
In fact, I just found this product called the Rocket Book. Have you ever heard of it? It's a notebook. It's got like 10 pages in it. That's it. They're not made out of paper. They're made out of some, I don't know, paper poly mesh.
Okay.
And you use certain pens on it. And then you can take a picture of it with the app. And based on the symbol that you said, hey, put this in the diamond or the heart or the emerald, it'll upload it to the cloud to wherever you told it to go. So I've got like 7 folders in my Google Drive. One for like business ideas, one for my personal thoughts, one for and I can just write on this notebook, scan it with that. It creates a PDF, uploads it to the cloud, and then I can wipe that page clean and use it again.
Wow.
They're like $20.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're like $20. Like, and I travel a little bit, and I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", 260. I don't have a lot of room to hold a laptop in a flight seat. So to sit there and be able to write that out and get, 10 pages of notes on a 2-hour flight, get to the airport, start snapping photos of it and know that I've got it. It's been, I'm still getting used to it. And I'm still putting it in my routine, but I have seen a drastic increase of productivity for myself.
Yeah.
With that. But again, it's finding tools that work for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
absolutely.
Oh man, you and I could have this talk all day long. We're probably boring the guys with the sticks in their hands pushing dirt right now. He's like, talk about something we want to hear.
Yeah,
we are. We're talking about running your business.
The things I try to avoid.
Let me teach you some things not to do. We'll shorten your cycle of hitting successful marks because we've already fallen in the trenches here and there, and we can build a bridge for you.
Correct.
Do you have a mentor, speaking of that, building bridges?
Not really. Industry friends that are a little further ahead than me, that sort of thing. I hired a business consultant who I will not name, though popular, wildly unimpressed. It was like $35,000 for a 6-month or 8-month commitment. And that was definitely a waste of money. And ever since then, I've never cared to pay for business advice since then. I think I hired the wrong one was the issue.
You're making me reassess my business because we just started a company called Groundbreaking Growth that does business coaching and consulting.
Oh, really? Okay.
For companies like this.
Okay.
And it's not even close to $35,000.
I did not know that. My apologies.
No worries, man. No worries. So yeah, we just seen a trend in the market where guys were, they know how to do dirt work. They were sick of working for somebody else. You get a machine, You tell your friends and family, you make a post on Facebook. Everybody that knows you is like, oh, cool. Let me spread the word for you.
Yeah.
It's new. It's exciting. And then 2 to 3 months later, all that fizzles out and you got to start running a legitimate business. And they're like, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
and I think that would be very helpful. I think where what I didn't get value from, or where I didn't learn anything necessarily, and not that it was all bad, was that maybe I didn't even realize that I am more focused on, I don't need help building a P&L. What I need help with is like specific things within the business. Like, I'm having this specific issue. Can you help me fix this issue?
can you think of one specific issue off the top of your head?
Yeah, like employee, not necessarily employee retention, but how do you get employees to be on board with what you're doing and not just show up?
Can we cover that?
Yeah, let's go into that.
Off the cuff, no notes in front of me. Let's cover this.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So hiring and employee retention starts at the top, starts with leadership.
Okay.
Number one, when you need to hire employees, you should have already had something running in the background so that people were watching you and wanting to work for you. We treat hiring as a reactive process. Oh my God, we're growing. I need 2 more laborers. Who do I hire?
Yeah.
So now it's reactive. We have a need and you got to fill it.
Mhm.
Being proactive is letting people in the community, letting people on your social media page, letting anyone you do, letting other contractors know what your values and your culture is, what you stand for as a person and a business. So when we work with businesses, we start not with the company value, we start with the personal values. What are your values? What's important to you? What do you hate about other people? Because those values need to be in your business values. Because if your business values are not in alignment with your personal values, then you will not be successful as that business owner.
Yeah.
So once you have that, you can build the business values, upfront honesty, competitive pricing, communication within 24 hours and what you stand for. And you can build that culture. Therefore, you can build like that mission statement. And then every decision you make for the business is driven by those values.
Yeah.
And if you communicate and you teach that with the team and the people you work with, they start attaching their self to the business values, because now the business is something they can attach to. Just no different than when you go out and play basketball with 3 new guys you never met before. You had a good time. Now those 3 guys are your buddies. You want to play basketball with them all the time.
Yeah.
You create
Makes
that
sense.
same style of that. Like, we've got a guy in Idaho that he went from 4 employees to 12, and we implemented all of this structure in his business to build the culture with the 4 he had.
Mhm.
He didn't have to put out one job post or ask anyone, do you know anyone who's hiring? Because people on all these other crews were going, hey man, Coy can't stop talking about you. I want to work for you.
Yeah.
So he was able to cherry pick the best people from the crews that matched their values. So, and you also need to find employees that match your values.
Yeah. That makes
if
sense.
If a guy's sloppy and doesn't care about the finish raking on a driveway job, and you're meticulous and want it to look like it was going to be in a magazine, he's probably not going to work long term.
Yeah.
So then you start asking value-based questions in interviews, and no matter what their skill is, if they don't match your values, it's not going to be a good fit long term.
Yeah.
And then you hire for desire.
Yeah.
You hire for desire because everything else can be taught.
I like that a lot.
I can teach you to drive a truck. I can teach you to answer the phone call and say exactly what we say. I can't teach you to want to do it.
Yeah. That's a little better than my current process, which is literally just, I will pay you 50% more than anyone else will offer you.
So
and it's sort of, but that doesn't, what I've realized this winter is not everyone, I'm 100% money focused. That's not like 98% money focused. Not everyone is like that. Everyone's focused on money, but some people are focused on making enough money that they can go on vacations all the time or name anything. Other people are focused on money because they just want to be well off, or they want to have all the nice things or whatever. I'm not the type of guy who takes time off. I have an employee who is pretty much like, yeah, I want to work like 100 hours a week for 2 weeks straight and then take 2 weeks off. I'm like, never would have crossed my mind ever.
Right.
So,
absolutely right. Yeah. And what we found is that there's actually studies on this. And I learned this a lot when I was running a manufacturing company, because I was like, God, these welders, they just don't have that oomph Like they work at like 60, 70%. How do I get them to 80%? Like I wasn't greedy, like 80% sustainable.
Yeah.
You work somebody at 90 or 100%, they burn out over time.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
they have that big dip down to 40%, and you're just better off staying at 80%.
Yeah.
So I would give them some raises, and I would notice that they'd work better for a week or two, and then you'd see right back to the production that was pre-raise.
Okay.
So I started looking into it, and it's psychologically proven that money only creates a change in attitude for 7 to 10 days.
Really?
7 to 10 days. So if they don't believe in your vision and believe in your mission, you're never going to get them to work better.
That makes sense.
You have that money for 10 days. Now it's the new normal.
Yeah.
Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more.
Okay. How do you create a mission around snow removal? Like that's a hang up I have is like snow removal is not exciting.
You create your mission statement about creating a safe walking and parking space for elderlies, for children, for employees, so that the first responders at the hospital can walk safely to their car. You create a mission statement around things like that, not, hey, we're going to go push snow today. What does the snow removal mean to the people you move it for? And dig deep into that.
Interesting.
Without us moving this snow, these people cannot provide the services to our community. It's our duty to do the best job we can do so that they're able to provide to the community for whatever service or good they offer. Now the mission statement becomes the service and the value to the customer, not the pushing of the snow.
Yeah. And even more than just the customer, it's this lady's an EMT. We have to have her driveway plowed before 4 a.m. when she leaves for work. So that, okay.
Yeah. What if it was your mother that was in a car accident and the EMT can't get out of the driveway? Now you can start getting some buy-in from people on your team, right? Not, hey, we got to go push snow because it's 4 a.m. Like, we got to get it done. Like, now it's just moving white stuff.
Yeah.
But you give them a purpose behind that, moving that white stuff.
Okay. I like it.
I'm going to send you my bank account so you can wire me $35,000.
Okay. Deal. On
it. So how was that advice compared to the business coach advice you had?
You just told me more things than he ever told me in 6 months of working with him.
Well, our program right now is $3,750, and that's lifetime access to the video courses that we're creating online and the group coaching calls we're going to house every week.
There we go.
And I'm even doing one-on-one coaching to get them started because we don't have all the videos created to put online yet.
Yeah.
You talked about, and I probably wouldn't talk about this in much detail, but the way you wrote your answer makes me want to really dive deep into it. The question was, what marketing works best for you? You wrote social media all day, baby.
Yeah.
So when someone writes that means they're having success with it and they're excited with it. And I want to know what strategies you're using that works for you.
Colloquial scripting in like long form Facebook ads, Instagram a little bit, using humor and just kind of everyday relaxed conversation via specifically Facebook. I cross post to Instagram because everyone's on Instagram these days.
Let's break this down a little bit into smaller, more bite-sized pieces. Go over your colloquial scripting. What it is, how you use it.
Colloquial scripting is like plain speech, written plain speech. So I would write exactly the same as how I talk. My Facebook post might start out with, "What's up, everybody?" I wouldn't ever actually write that specifically. That's just what comes to my mind at the moment. It's like, I'm going to tell you a story today. The story's about me being kind of not very smart. Let's be honest, I'm kind of stupid. Like, whatever. You might say, like, start off and then tell a funny story about like a bad thing that happened today. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. And you get tons of shares because you're not trying to sell them anything. When you try to sell too much on social media, people just tune out to your page. So instead, I just write updates, usually in a humorous or educational form on Facebook, cross-post Instagram, but mostly Facebook, so that people actually have a reason to come look at my page or read any of my posts. And then when I do actually want to sell something, I can just write a post and I'll literally write, "Hey, come buy gravel from us." Picture of like a dump truck dumping gravel out and run it as an ad. And it just blows up because everyone knows who we are. And I'm not always pitching them. A lot of people run when they're posting on Facebook. All they do is post, asphalt paving and then their phone number. And every single post is exactly the same. You need to break it up just so that you don't have like ad fatigue but you also need to break it up just so that people actually stay interested and you give them a reason to interact with your posts or look at your posts to read them. And everyone is on social media all the time. Everyone gets on Facebook because they want to be distracted from their life. They want something to entertain them. And if you can be that entertainment, then you will be successful.
I love it, man. I love it. And for the guys that look at me like, I don't know what to write funny, or I don't know how to start an ad like that or a post like that. I just go, listen, keep it simple. Every job you do, a person had a problem. You provided a solution, and the outcome of that solution is this.
Yeah.
Follow this 3 steps. Just finished up at Mary Jane's yard. Her driveway was so rutted up, with grass growing through the middle of it. She was spilling her coffee every morning when she left the house. She called us. We came out, did a full walkthrough with her, explained to her in detail what the process would look like, how much gravel we need to bring in, and how quickly we could get the job done. We just wrapped up that job today, and Mary's looking forward to leaving her house tomorrow morning without spilling a drop of coffee in her lap. Like, there's your story script.
Exactly.
Problem, solution, outcome. If you follow those 3 words, like, and just do it for your jobs. Like, you don't even have to get creative and witty. You can just do every job you do, what the problem was, what the solution is, what the outcome is.
Yeah.
But every story is different because every customer is different. So now you're using the same framework, but you don't have to try to be witty here. You don't have to do this. And then you can even finish the ad with, like, if you have a rutted driveway and spills your coffee in the morning also, we'd love to come take a look at it and help you out too. Boom, you're done.
Yeah. Hey, man. It can be serious. It can be funny. It can be educational. It can be whatever you want it to be. Sometimes people will ask me for advice on Facebook stuff because I've gone like viral. I've had a few of my posts go viral, like maybe 5 or 6 times. And they think that, oh, that's like the only way to be successful is to be funny on social media. That's not the case. Right. You just have to somewhat, like you just said, talk about what you're doing. I do a lot of dumb things, which is why if you look at all of my posts on my personal and business Facebook, it's almost always me making fun of myself for doing something stupid, which is why it's funny because it's like a little bit of self-deprecating humor. I'm not making fun of someone else, which would be kind of offensive. I'm making fun of myself for making a stupid mistake and then also go into how I fixed it. And it's always like lighthearted fun.
Yeah, but, and there's one thing that I will take all day, every day over going viral, because that's like lightning in a bottle for most people. I will take consistency.
Yeah.
Post daily, post every other day, post every 3rd day, but don't wait more than that. Post every job you do, and then post something in between, whether it's, beautiful sunshine, can't wait to get to work today, in the picture of the sun with a cup of coffee. Like, just have some life things built into it too. And this is a great way to build your culture so other people can see you, because I'll guarantee you other people in the construction industry are checking you out. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you can start showing how like what your values and your mission are, and not without just saying we value honesty and integrity, but like build that into some posts and stuff. This contractor was going to charge Mary $13,000 to remove a fence, dig a trench, and fix a drainage issue. The project is only a $3,500 project because this does, and that. Like, we're so glad we met Mary so we could get her exactly what she needs at the price that she deserves to pay. That's still saying that you're an honest contractor.
And you know what else you can do on top of that too is probably, how do I word this? I've had posts where I've messed up on things, and you can tell people, like, I put this driveway in and I realized that when I took my measurements, the driveway was wrong. So I had to dig up the driveway and redo it. I did it on my dime.
Not every the customer's happy.
Yeah. Like, that's like actually something that happened. I hit a power line one time. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm also not afraid to tell people that, because we did what was right to fix it. And also it sets like a realistic expectation. I'm a little bit above reproach because, like, I'm not hiding my flaws.
Yep. And that actually builds trust. It makes people relate to you, because none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning after traveling back to Miami. I'm like, God, I got a light day today. I don't have much on my schedule. This is awesome. And then all of a sudden my assistant's like, you've got a call at 9, another one at 11, another one at 1, another one at 3, and another one at 5. And I was like, there's nothing on my calendar. And she's like, there should be. We put it on there last week. And I'm like, no. So we had to go back in and we looked at the server that we use to schedule all this stuff out that gives time slots available. wasn't synced properly to my calendar, so it wasn't showing up on my phone.
There we go.
You know? So I was like, well, let's take a quick shower, take a big shot of coffee, and get this day rolling, But I mean, it is what it is, right? It happens to all of us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Social media marketing can be a huge tool when used properly.
Yeah.
You've got to be a mix of real life, a little bit of humor, a little bit of sales.
Mhm.
And then I always tell people, like, don't sell on your Facebook page. Sell in private groups, sell in marketplace, sell in boosted ads.
Yes.
Make your page about you and your business.
Mhm.
The stories of your customers, your day, mistakes, corrections,
Mhm.
all of that stuff, because that makes you relatable and real.
Yeah.
And then if you want to sell, like, create an ad and actually use the ad. Don't use your page as the ad platform.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So we actually teach this thing. I call it 30K in 30 days. So I'll give you a step-by-step process on what to do, where to put your ad, which is free. It's just a post, actually. How to write that post, what to call out in that post, and how to create scarcity so people contact you right away. That if you run this post for one service, not your business, but one service, you'll get so many phone calls that you can probably add $30,000 of revenue to your top line in less than 30 days. We gave it to a guy in Missouri, and he called me 4 hours after he posted it. He's like, dude, I got 15 requests for estimates already.
Nice.
Another guy that we did work with, he called me up. He's like, I got 30 phone calls in the last 5 days over this.
Yeah.
It's not a philosophy that you could do day in, day out, but like you could do it once a quarter.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You could do it once every other month if you switch the service that you provide.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It's just I found it, I shouldn't say an accident. I did it for myself. And I was like, hot damn, this is awesome. And I actually used to give the script away to people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a post with like 600 comments in our group. Like, who wants the exact script we use to generate this many phone calls, this many estimates, this many sales? And now I'm like, I'm not giving that away anymore. Like, that's like this is really valuable information. I wonder how many thousands of dollars was generated from this one post, this style of post. So yeah, social media can be an amazing tool. Do you do Google My Business also?
Yeah, I've Googled My Business. I kind of have everything, but I tried running Google Ads. Wasn't really that big of a fan of it. But the Google My Business is huge, especially when you optimize Google My Business to actually rank well, reviews, replying to reviews, the way you name your pictures when you upload them to your Google My Business, adds like the SEO of it, etc. It can be a big tool. I'm not huge into Google, or I do it. Google is one of those things I do because I have to, not because I'm passionate about it.
So Google My Business, I would almost challenge people and say it's more important than Facebook. Mm-hmm. Because it's one of those things that if you invest the time up front on it, it can keep working for you day in and day out.
Yeah.
You don't know everybody, and people on Facebook, everyone that needs it doesn't see your post or your ad.
Yeah.
So you also need to be there. So when they search for whatever service you offer, and the way Google built that Google My Business, where they give local businesses their own rankings without having to pay for it, or you can pay to be on top of it also.
Yeah.
But to separate you out from the national change, like once they did that, that was literally a game changer for local businesses. Like, you don't have a store. They can't open a door and walk in and see your products. Mm-hmm. That Google My Business and your website, that is your brick and mortar store.
Correct.
And it can work for you at 11 o'clock at night, at 3 in the morning, and at 3 in the afternoon when you're swamped. Yep. And it's worth the time. I've got about a 15-page document that it's a first grader could walk through and build a Google My Business account and optimize it for a business. It's so detailed.
Yeah. That's badass. I didn't know that you did obviously I know about Skid Steer Nation. I was not aware of everying else.
All right.
I don't spend enough time in your Facebook group.
Well, we just started launching this, so it's not like we've been doing this for years. Okay. We used to do a marketing service a year ago, and we had, I don't know, 10 or 15 clients, and we were, and I was having a hard time scaling that business because we were building websites, we were building the Google My Business. So I'd get 1 or 2 clients. I'm like, well, I got to stop because I need to fulfill in a timely manner. Yeah, building a website's not like a 3-minute project. Like, it took me days, weeks. And what I found out was once we got all that optimized, we got their business rolling, and we got them to do that 30K in 30-day script. We got them to get some more phone calls. They would call and text me all the time with business related questions, nothing to do with marketing.
Yeah.
So then we had to start doing group coaching calls. So we started doing group coaching calls with these guys to talk business. And we had some life events in my life. My father went into hospice and passed away this summer. And I just had to stop doing anything that wasn't Skid Steer Nation.
Yeah.
So I helped these guys like, hey, you're on your own now. I'm here if you need advice, but it's not, the relationship's got to change. So as I got re-engaged, I was like, why would I even do the marketing services? Like there's marketing companies everywhere that can do the exact same thing I was doing. And I can help you find a good one because I've got a big network of people that do that.
Yeah.
But I don't have, like, there's not a big network of people that knew what you needed to do to build a strong, solid business that is capable of scaling and growing to hit your goals.
And someone who's actually done it before.
And it's only specific to excavation companies in this land service niche. Like your trucking and, snow removal, it's all the same thing, right? But most people you hire to do stuff for our industry, you got to teach them what our industry is. And then you get burned out because you're like, I'm the one that's paying you. And why am I teaching you?
Yeah.
When you start saying, we got this swell over here. And the guy's like, what's a swell? Like,
yeah.
So
the guy that I hired, I didn't know this at first. The coach that I hired had never actually owned a business before. He was like the sales manager at one point for a roofing company. And then he worked for like Verizon or something before that. And I was like, this is why a lot of what you're saying doesn't actually make sense. Kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it, man. And a lot of the lessons that I teach, it's because I did the wrong thing earlier in my career. So I owned bars and restaurants for 15 years. So at 25 years old, I owned my first nightclub.
There you go.
And by 27, we had 3 locations and 100 employees. And by 27 and a half, I learned what a partnership agreement was because I didn't have one.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure you can pick up what I'm laying down there. Like two of the businesses kind of went away because the partnerships dissolved and we didn't have an agreement in place and it didn't work well. And then got into manufacturing and I was like, I've never done this before. And we got into there. I'm like, why do you manage the business this way? You should be doing this and this and this. Like, what do you know? You're from the restaurant industry. And I'm like, I know A plus B equals C. I mean, it's the same principles. A year and a half later, the owners of the company fired the entire management team, gave me the keys of the building and said, listen, run it however you see fit. And as long as it's moving in the right direction, we'll have a meeting once a month. So I ran a manufacturing company for 9 years.
There you go.
And then we got to the point they wanted to sell the business. And I was like, I'm not going to go work for another company. Like you've given me so much freedom that I'm not going to be micromanaged.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you're a key part of the sale. And I'm like, well, you should have thought of that first. So, that's when I started Skid Steer Nation.
There we go.
Because I was like, I'll just do it myself. I've always had the idea of representing American manufacturers that make high quality products. Like most of these manufacturers that we work with, they're so focused on engineering and manufacturing, they don't even have a sales team.
Yeah.
So how are people supposed to know about their products if they don't know how to market and sell them? So I was like, let's build a platform that does the marketing and helps with the selling. And we only focus on these products that are literally bulletproof and built, to my thoughts, 2 to 3 times better than a lot of these large corporations.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's definitely how I found Skid Steer Nation to begin with, was because there is some implements that you sell that you have more information about them on your website than they do on their company websites.
Oh, it's a struggle for me. I've actually had to buy attachments and ship them to my house so I could touch, feel, and taste and use, so I could write descriptions and make videos of them. Because I'm like, I don't know enough about this just on your 3 sentences. Yeah. So I totally get it. But hey, they're focused on making great products, and they do. So I'm not going to yell at them for not knowing how to do or not doing the sales and marketing aspect of it. Yeah,
definitely better for them to put all their focus on creating a better product, less on marketing than an inferior product that's marketed well.
Yeah. Well, man, Cameron, this has been awesome. I don't want to keep rolling too long. We're getting close to an hour mark, and we don't want to monopolize these guys' times in the truck and all that. There is one little thing that I think is an amazing story that we have to finish with, and I'm positive you know what it is.
Which one's that? The guy getting shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was reading through your survey and I'm like, did I read that right?
Yeah.
I'm like, he was 10 feet away from what? And I don't want to ruin the story, so I want you to tell it.
Okay. So to set the backstory, Wasilla, Alaska, which is right next to where I live, is a real crappy town. It's just dirty. I would say anyway. So we were hauling snow. We have to haul snow off parking lots in the winter. I don't know if that's a thing where you live, but it's always a night show thing. You're in these like nasty little parking lots that no one wants to be in, let alone at 2:00 in the morning. Anyway, I was in the dump truck. We had a loader operator loading me. I was just sitting there. I was staged for a while. I don't remember why, but just staged next to the pile for maybe 10 minutes. Car pulls up. I'm like on my phone. I look up. There's a dude like kind of staggering up to my truck, my dump truck. I'm like, what's this guy want? He's like probably some drunk dude, which happens every night. Some drunk or high guys like beating on your window. And I'm like, walks up to my front door and starts pounding on it. And I'm like, here we go. I like rolled my window down a little bit. I have my gun on my hip. And he's like, can you help me? And I'm like, no. And then he like pulls his hand off his neck and it's just gushing blood everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. So I hop out of the truck and he like starts to try to walk away and then like collapses. And I'm like, nice, this dude's gonna die. So like hold his neck closed. The guy running loader had like way more medical knowledge than I do. I don't really know anything about it. So he kind of came over and helped. We waited for the cops to show up. Turns out his girlfriend had shot him in the parking lot. And then his girlfriend was still there, like freaking out at him, and us, was just kind of going crazy. The cops show up. I believe she got arrested. He goes to the hospital. He like was in a coma. It was like 20 below. He had clothes on, but like a t-shirt, jeans. He like passed out partway through the night. I thought he was dead, but anyway, apparently he survived, at least for a while, because I heard from him a couple days later, or heard about him a couple days later. But yeah, that was about it.
I mean, I've heard some crazy stories of things guys have seen near and around job sites, but a guy asking for help and then bleeding out of his neck has never been on that list.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I recommend. I don't want that to happen again.
Right. You're like, no, you can't have $2. Oh God, what is that?
Well, and also like I kind of felt like guilty a little bit because I'm like, oh, have there been other people who have been critically injured that I've ignored because I thought they were a crackhead?
Yeah, it makes you wonder and reassess, doesn't it? Yeah, it totally does.
So.
Totally does. Well, man, I don't even know what we could talk about that could top that. So, man, we're going to end it there. Cameron, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and reaching out and saying, yeah, let's do this episode. We're always looking for business owners that got a unique niche, a fun story that want to share and get on here. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'd like to tell my story on there, go to our website, go to our social media sites and send us a message and let us know. We'll get in contact with you and see if we're a good fit. I'm so glad you did today's conversation. I enjoy every podcast I do, but there's some of them that are memorable. And to me, because of the topics we talked about and because of the knowledge both of us have on those topics, this is going to be a memorable podcast for me. So yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on. It's good to talk to somebody else who is also substantially bigger than me in e-commerce, because that's not a big production world.
We can talk that offline too.
Perfect. That works.
So that is another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. And while we typically tell you all about Skid Steer Nation and the wonderful American-made manufactured attachments we have to offer there, today we're going to talk about the new program that we mentioned in the show, Groundbreaking Growth. If you own an excavation company, are starting an excavation company, trying to scale an excavation company, and just sick and tired of banging your head on the wall and you want some changes, go to groundbreakinggrowth.com, fill in your name and email address. We'll have a conversation and see how we can help you out. And until the next episode, keep your hands on the sticks and the buckets on the ground. See you, fellas.